Hey, what's going on there, Dice Rollers? Paul here, and I'll be your DM for a while, and welcome to Monday Night Mayhem. And just trying out something new because Mondays are kind of a very chill kind of day for me. And I thought, well, why don't I go on Monday nights and share some of my games that I played and do some recaps where I just show you, what games I played, maybe what kinds of groups I played them with. And for those that are brand new here and you have no idea who I am, or maybe you just are scrolling by and you see me, my name is Paul, and I am a professional dungeon master. I've been playing D&D and other role-playing games for 40 years. And I'm also a therapeutic game master, which means I just get to work alongside mental health professionals and be able to use games in a therapeutic way, which I'm going to be doing this coming week, and I'll share a little bit about that later on. So let me go ahead and get to the first game that I played, first recap. And that recap is from a game I did for beginners. So I will go and I will post for our local game store where I play in-house. And I have, this was a great game for beginners. I used this old thing here, which I had never played before, and I just had it in my stuff. And I'm like, well, what is this? What is Glitter Doom? And the funny thing is, I just wanted the PDF printed off, and I asked, and my print people made me this little booklet. So I thought, well, how cool is that? Very cool. And I highly recommend Glitter Doom. Glitter Doom is by Goodman Games, Michael Curtis. It's 5e, and it is a really, really excellent adventure. It has a lot of good stuff in it, and it was perfect for this group. It does play high, though. I did notice that it's a level 3 adventure, which is okay. I still thought it was played a little bit high, but that's okay. I'm okay with it. I scaled it. But the cool thing about the adventure and the people that I was playing with, it was a dad and his daughter and a father and his son. And it was a great session. I do 3-hour sessions, and this is their first time. Many of them have played, maybe had dabbled with it, or maybe had some of the books or things like that. And so I went through the process where I said, we're going to roll up characters. And so in rolling up the characters, that's kind of my thing, is because when I say, hey, look, we're going to do I'm going to teach you how to play D&D. I think a great skill is learning how to roll up your characters. And so I give them, they get their dice for free. And then I break down, I have cards and I have a video on this. I think when I talk about pre-generated characters versus rolling up your characters. And so I'll put a link down in the show notes for that if you're interested in why I do that and what kind of cards I use. Because the process is real simple. I just go ahead and hand out the cards, and they go ahead and pick their race. And then I hand out another set of cards, and that is for their class, what they want to do, and then they just put that on their sheet, and then they go ahead and roll their stats and all that kind of stuff. Because I think it's just a great skill going forward. I think it's a great skill to teach new players how to roll up the characters. I know there's D&D Beyond. I know there's other tabletops that you can roll your characters on. You can just do it that way, and that's fine. Nothing wrong with that. I just do it to teach them a way where, let's say, the internet is out for some reason, right? The internet's out at their home. They said, well, I want to roll up a character. Well, if you don't have D&D Beyond, or your phone's out, or whatever it is, well, then you're kind of stuck. But if you know how to roll them up manually, well, then you're going to be fine. And so we rolled up the characters, and we started the adventure. And the great thing is, it was the young man that was playing the child of one of the adults there. He was funny. He was 10, and he told me he had he found a magic weapon in the woods that fell out of the sky, and it was a weapon of the gods. I said, okay, listen, we're just diving right into the backstory. Okay, you found this weapon. How cool. And it's basically like Thor's hammer. It's just, the magic to it was that it could, fly and come back to him. That's fine. No problem with it at all. And so we get later on into the game, and he wants to do this thing with his hammer that's something different. He wants to, wrap it around somebody or do something. And I say, well, go ahead and roll, and he misses it. He says, but this thing's magic. It's from the gods. I said, well, wait a second. Are you a god? He said, no. I said, there you go. This magic item has some limitations if you yourself are not a god that's using it. But then that made me think of the Ghostbusters, where he says, Ray, if somebody asks you if you're a god, you say yes. And so, but this young man was really, really cool. He kept saying things like, this is so cool. This is so cool. And that just really warmed my heart, because it was really something fun that he got to do that he had never really experienced. I like to have music on when we're playing. So when he comes in the room, he says, oh, he's got music. I was like, oh, well, good. I'm glad that's a win right there. Once again, he's 10, maybe not too hard to impress, but I felt good about it anyway. And then the young lady who was played a bard. And we put him in a bar scenario where she was performing, and I asked her what her song was, and she said, rat poison. I went, rat poison. Okay. And of course that the whole table just busted out laughing. And so I got the crowd a little rowdy around her. It's like, that song sucks. That's terrible. That's, I'm just throwing, tomatoes or whatever up there. And of course that gave the group an opportunity to defend her. And they did, and it worked out really, really well. So if you're looking for a good third level adventure, I highly recommend Glitter Doom from Goodman Games. Really a lot of fun, and that's I try to do at least one. I try to do at least one beginner class a month if I can, because that's good for me, because it helps me get into a rhythm of constantly teaching new people how to play. And kind of honing how I do it, and whether or not, I can, streamline it. Can I do things better with it? And so, if you're one who likes to teach, I recommend finding a new group that wants to learn once a month. So, because I think it keeps me sharp. So I can only speak for me, but it keeps me sharp in doing it. And then I kind of get the vibe of kind of new generation of gamers coming up and what they want to do, right? How do they see their character? And so once again, it's a lot of fun for me to do. So let me take you over. I'm going to take you into my second recap. And this second recap that I'm going to talk about, I did this, and I'm kind of combining weekends from last weekend and this past weekend. I've been playing Esper Genesis 5e to be exact. And if you're not familiar with it, let me come over here and grab it. It is the science fiction version of 5e, and it's the better version. It's better than Spelljammer, and this has been. These are the guys that I play. I have played with for 40 years. So we've been playing Esper Genesis, and they love it. I've offered to go and say, hey, look, if you're bored with this, because we've been playing it for now, maybe 2-3 months, and they just love it. So I highly recommend it. I may do a whole thing on it if you're interested in that. If you're interested in Esper Genesis, I'll maybe do a whole thing, talk about the classes, talk about the various rules and whatnot. So if you're interested in that, just leave me some comments down below. I'll be happy to do that. But I think I'm going to do it just because I like the game. My players like the game. And it's like I said, it's like 10 times better than Spelljammer, because it just is. So anywho, let's go over here to the screen here. And let me show you the Esper Genesis. Where can we go here? Let's see. Oh, here we go. All right. So, Esper Genesis. We're doing called the, this is Adventure 5, Shadow of the Zephyr. And this was a really, really fun adventure. Let me kind of move this around a little bit so I kind of see what I'm doing here. Move this over just a little bit. All right. There we go. And then I kind of move that back. Let me move this over here and move this over here. I gotta move things around. I gotta just shift things around. All right. So, like I said, here is Shadow of the Zephyr, the Long Winter, and I'm using this game. We're in another adventure, but this is the adventure we did before, and it is this is a really fun game because it is there's the key to this game. The key to this game is that there was many different factions here. And the adventure here, that they had to go to a space station and they had to dismantle it, get some information, maybe put it out of commission. And there were lots of things going on here. And what made this adventure so much fun is that there were competing interests. So there was a hacker who accidentally let a virus loose. So an AI basically was controlling the space station. And then you had somebody from the Zephyr Corporation who was trying to cover it up and trying to advance her own career. So there was two competing forces there, trying to communicate with them while they were here, making offers, trying to make deals. Then they had a third factor that was there, third competing interest, was a group of mercenaries were going to land. And once they landed, they were going to just destroy everything on the ship anyway. So they had to make deals. They had all this tension throughout the story because they had the hacker, they had I think her name was Alyssa from the Zephyr Corporation, and then you had the mercenaries. And then you had the actual AI. And so the AI was shutting doors, locking doors down, not letting them through. And eventually the players got to a point where they were trying to figure things out, how they were going to shut this down, who they were going to go and throw in with. And it made for some great role play. It made for some great discussion, and it created that tension I really wanted, because they had to move in real time. And sometimes they were, going with the hacker. Sometimes they were going with Alyssa. They eventually came to a conclusion and said, well, what if we take the AI with us? Because they have this mech here that they got, Max, and this mech here, was just kind of helping out. It's, kind of a brood and breaks down doors, things like that. And they said, well, what if we take the AI? What if we say, well, instead of destroying the AI, let's take the AI with us. So they made a deal with the AI and wound up letting the AI into Max. And so now they have this Mecharoid with this AI in it. And basically, they are now traveling with Ultron. So I don't know exactly how this is going to work out. But these adventures, these Esper Genesis adventures, are well written. This is one of the better maps. The earlier maps on adventures were not as good, not as fleshed out. But this is a fairly good map that they had here, and we really enjoyed playing it, and it offered just a whole new flavor to it that we really enjoyed. And so I highly recommend it. If you have any questions about it, feel free to leave those in the comments. If you're watching this in the future, be sure to go ahead and leave your questions in the comments as well if you want more of Esper Genesis. And so they wound up actually saving the ship. And, they blew up the ship with the mercenaries on it, and they barely got out. And they took the AI with them, and now they're traveling with Ultron. And now they find themselves this past Friday. We did where they're kind of in a city that is not advanced, so they're driving these hover cycles. It has a very much. I'm trying to make it a very much like Escape from New York kind of a thing, but with a little bit of a tech advance. And so they are roaming around the city trying to find out where somebody is and get a hold of some tech that that both the hacker and Alyssa from Zephyr Corp want. Which, by the way, at the end of this adventure, what happened, or the beginning of the other adventure where they're now kind of in this post-apocalyptic world, I had the hacker and the girl from Zephyr Corp team up. So now you have this built-in team, almost like maybe like Leverage, shows like Leverage, things like that, where now they have these resources where now that lady's no longer with Zephyr Corp and they're working together to work against the big corporation. So we've kind of built this little team here between the AI, the hacker, the lady from Zephyr, the former Zephyr Corp, corporate executive. And so we now have this little team here that where now their missions can come out of that. So that's kind of a lot of fun to watch that kind of build over time. Now, let me share with you the third game that I played. I play usually about twice a week. I have my Friday game with my friends, that I've been playing with for decades, and then I try to do a Saturday where I will do an but a beginner group. And maybe this month, since it's October, hopefully I want to do Strahd's Death House. So we'll see about that. But let me take you over to the Voyage of the Fallen Star. Now, if you are a subscriber, I've talked about this because this is from Dungeon in a Box. And the Dungeon in the Box adventures, I have to say, are really, really good. And so, well, let me show you, I'll show you that in a second. I want to show you something else here, but let me show you the, let's see here. Let's see here. There we go. Well, I don't want this one. I want the other one. Let's see. Is this the one I want? Yes, it is. Okay. So, as you can see here, this is D&D Beyond. This is the new maps, and we played using these maps, and they are really, really good. Everybody has control because they're in they have their character in the D&D Beyond, and so they have control over their character. I don't have to assign, like in Roll20, I have to assign the tokens and so forth, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's fine. This is and like I was saying, let me go back to what I was saying about the Dungeon in a Box. That these Dungeon in a boxes that I did some videos on these. You can just go to, there's a whole playlist there. I'll put it up there if you want to check it out for yourself. But the adventures from Dungeon in the Box we're doing, it's called Voyage of the Fallen Star. And this particular one is the one we're doing right now. And it is the Roar of the Blazing Isles. And it is really, really a lot of fun. These are well-designed adventures. Even though, they're a little pricey for me. They may not be pricey for somebody else, but for me, I had to stop my subscription because just life and other things. But this Roar of the Blazing Isles is really, really good. The whole thing, the Voyage of the Fallen Star, is really, really good. Highly recommend it. I may, depending how much I have, I think I have two more, another book left. And so we'll see. I may or may not have to go back to it because I like the adventure so much that I may have to complete it. So how many do I have? 1, 2, 3. So I need 7 more. I think there's 10 in the series. But this was a lot of fun because they just got through. They have a boat. They were on a boat. They had some a little bit of ship battle in there. They had some battles at sea. Now they're kind of going through the jungle on the island, and they're trying to find, they're going to have to go under to the volcano, and they're going to have to get in there. Now, the thing that I did not do last time that I'm going to do for the next time that we do this is I need to create some NPCs, which means I need to create characters, because in here you can add, your token browser. So you have all your stuff there, and then you can add players to it, which there's the players there. And so once I add players to the adventure, I will add them as they will be NPCs. not players, but I can use them in, be able to do, go to another screen and be able to roll their stats and things like that, so that when they do battle with them, they can, their numbers will show up in the little thing down here that you can see right here. Right here, the game log. And so, but anyway, that's what I need to do that for the next one. I need to do that for the next game, where I need to have certain NPCs, or, I rolled. It really didn't impede anything, because I took dice and I just rolled them here. I just, I didn't even worry about it. I was like, oh, well, I didn't do it. So I just went ahead and just rolled dice, and it was fine. And we moved on, and it was a good experience as far as I was concerned, playing right here on the D&D Beyond VTT. And so hopefully it will improve. You'll be able to do things like, if I wanted to change the name of one of these tokens, maybe I could be allowed to do that. That's another reason that I would build this in as a character, building my NPCs. Like example, if it's just a goblin or a bugbear, things like that. This was like a team of workers that were out working, and they had to overcome their guards and so forth. But if I have something like that, like a bugbear or a goblin, things like that, then I can name them, create the character, and then be able to, roll as needed for that. So, like I said, this worked out really, really well. Highly recommend the Dungeon in a Box. You can go back and watch those. I'll put a link, like I said, up top there. You can take a look at those. And then I want to show you something. You can upload your maps here, and I uploaded some maps here. So let me go ahead and go to the lava map that I showed you earlier. Now, here's the lava map, and these maps that I had were not gridded. And so because they were not gridded, I said, well, what am I going to do? I have to be able to do something. So I said, well, I'm going to go over to Canva, and this is just a quick tip. If you need to grid your maps, you can go over here in Canva. If you use Canva, there is over here, you can see is these grids. If you just type in grid, and then you have these grids, and this is the grid here that I used. And all I had to do was just put that right there, and then I just blew it up, and it worked. It turned out really nice, I thought. Like I said, if you think it's too big or something, if you think the squares are too big, then you can just make the squares 10 foot instead of 5 foot. If you want to, reduce the movement around the map or anything like that. But yeah, there's all these kinds of grids you can use. You can shrink them. You can do all that stuff. I don't know. I made mine gray because I kind of wanted it to blend in. If I want to make them white, then I can just make them white. But, makes no matter to me. It worked, like I said, it worked just fine the way it was. So that's all that matters to me, is that it did its job, right? Do your job, map, and it did. So that is my third recap. And I got one more. It's not a recap, but I am going to share with you if I continue to do this. And by the way, if you like these recaps on a Monday night, I would love to hear from you. Love to hear your comments about it. And let me go back over here. Maybe I can go back to full screen here if I can. And here we go. And so this coming Thursday, this Saturday, I know I'm doing another beginner game, and I'm going to do Stormwreck Isle, the adventure with the team. And then this Thursday, I'm actually doing an after-school program, and I have called it Questers. And so that will be one of the games I'll recap here on Monday night, because I'll be doing this with students, and so I'm super excited. These are just little journals. There's that I'm going to give them as part of their experience. A lot of these students have never played before, and this is kind of where the therapeutic gaming comes in, because these are students who could use something like this and who want to experiment, right? They want to try something new, and so these are just little blank sheets that I'll give them, but they get to keep that. And that's what I just did a search, by the way. If you're using AI yet, I just said, hey, look, give me some good club names for after school D&D clubs, and they came up with, I think Questers was one of them. And so this is what they're going to get. And I just this was made in Canva as well. That I had my print people just go ahead and make this for me. It's super inexpensive. I think they're like $3 a piece, 7 pages in there, and the artwork is really, really nice there on Canva that you can make stuff like that. So I think that's really, really cool. But yeah, those are the games that I played this past weekend. Now we're all caught up. I've kind of combined two different weekends, but hopefully every Monday night I'll just kind of jump on, share a little bit about what the games I've played over the past weekend. And once again, if you have any questions about any of the games I'm playing or some of the things you see, be happy to answer those questions. Leave me some comments down below. And if you're not a subscriber yet, well, be sure to go ahead and click that subscribe button, and you'll get videos like this on a regular basis. Hit the notification button bell, and that way you'll know when I go live. But that is it for tonight, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Thanks for being a part tonight. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Have a great week, and happy gaming if you got some games coming up this week. So I'll talk to you guys later. Have a good night, everybody. Bye.